should be live. Let me shoot it up.
All right. Shalom. This is the Brothers of GMS Louisiana Saints of New Orleans camp with another live sit down. But before we get started, as always, we're going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors
to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Rakadash.
Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who ruled and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Hakim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers adhere to the end. Shalom.
Shalom.
And we're just going to get straight into it with 2nd Ezra chapter 6, start at verse 8.
This is 2nd Ezra 6 and 8. It says, "And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held fast to the heel of Esau.
Keep going.
For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth."
And the main points in verse 9, for Esau, which we know is the so-called white man today, these Europeans, Americans, the Russians, the British, you name it, is the end of the world or an end of a current age, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, speaking of the kingdom of heaven. And we are living in the end of Esau's world or age, really the end of the rulership of the heathen nations as a whole, because we can clearly see that all the end time signs that Yahushua told his disciples to look for, to know that we were in these times, are either in the process of taking place or taking place as we speak. And one of the telltale signs is who would be ruling. And as it says in that 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 9, it would be these Edomites. Again, these so-called white people. You have some people out here that'll say, oh no, the so-called white people are Japheth. Well, as many brothers have done lessons in the past, show us precepts to show that Japheth would be ruling in the end times. Japheth, of course, being the so-called Polynesian people, the Hawaiians, the people like that. But that's not the case. The red man, the devil man, Esau Edom is ruling. And we opened up the video with this verse to preface an article from RT.com, and just to further show who's ruling in the last days.
This is an article off of RT.com. The title is Roman Empire's Alliance Would Benefit Europe.
It says the UK Prime Minister, point blank period, Roman Empire's alliance would benefit Europe. And where was the Roman Empire? In Europe. And who's currently in control of Europe right now? These so-called white people, these Edomites. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning that followeth. Hey, we're living in the last leg of the fourth beast in Daniel chapter 2, which we're about to get. Those iron toes mixed with miry clay. And just listen to the wording of these Edomites in this article, as it says in Romans chapter 8, our spirit beareth witness with us that we're the children of the Most High. Well, these Edomites' spirit is bearing witness, hey, that they're the Edomites.
It says, Boris Johnson wants a political community encompassing not only the EU, but the Roman Empire's old territory,
which we know was, of course, in Europe, and some of North Africa, some of the Middle East, that whole Mediterranean area, all that. And these Edomites are all up in Europe right now. And even those Turks in Turkey, the majority of them are Edomites.
It says, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson was reportedly so infatuated with French President Emmanuel Macron's idea of a European political community, encompassing not only the EU, but Eastern Europe, particularly Ukraine, and the UK, that he has claimed it has its own idea and framed it as a modern take on the Roman Empire.
And these Edomites' spirits is bearing witness that they were those same Edomites that ruled the ancient pagan Roman Empire. And they've got a book by, I can't remember his name offhand, but it was a book by, I think, one of those scholars at these great colleges, and it was published in, I think, 1853. It was called the Roman Empire, the Empire of the Edomite. So these Edomites up in the higher levels have known who they were for the longest time. But as we're getting closer and closer to the end of Esau's rulership, his spirit is just more bold and bearing witness of who he is, what he's trying to do, trying to bring back the glory days of the ancient pagan Roman Empire. But what happened with that? Jake took over. Just like Jake is taking over now, is ultimately going to take over in the kingdom of heaven. Again, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
William, peace.
William Beeston, William Beeston. What was he, a Harvard scholar? Yeah, some devil, some college professor.
So the Financial Times reported this on Wednesday. Johnson's modern term imperium would stretch from the UK to the Maghreb region of northern Africa and eastward to Turkey and the Ukraine.
And all those old borderlands of the ancient Roman Empire, which encompassed Britannia to the northern parts of Africa, all the way to that other part, to eastward to Turkey. Turkey was also a part of the ancient pagan Roman Empire.
Turkey and Ukraine. He said, declaring he had come up with Macron's ideas back when I first became a foreign secretary, and revealing he believed we should basically be recreating the Mare Nostrum of the Roman Empire. In an audience with journalists en route to Madrid for a NATO summit on Tuesday. Mare Nostrum was the Roman name for the Mediterranean Sea, adopted at a time when the empire controlled much of Europe. The coast of northern Africa and modern-day Turkey extending into the Caucasus region.
The Caucasus Mountains, which when those Edomites fell out of power in the ancient pagan Roman Empire, a lot of them were driven into the Caucasus Mountains. And they started coming back down and started taking back over Europe. With that little season of theirs.
I got that.
Kind of got it.
This Revelation 21, it says, "Now saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit."
And that bottomless pit is speaking of Europe. And the reason it's known as a bottomless pit is because it doesn't have a lot of its own natural resources. That's why these Edomites built their empires off of colonization, going to these rich lands that these dark-skinned peoples lived in. They enslaved them and took their resources, sent those raw materials to Europe, and built their merchandise and wares out of it, like what they're doing today.
It says, "And the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan," that's the brother was saying, "and bound him 1,000 years."
And hey, when we go to Revelation 12, it talks about that red dragon that tried to swallow up the woman and her child. And we know that that's going back to the nation of Israel, back then when the Romans were ruling over the southern kingdom. And what happened? You had Herod, who was an Edomite, who was a puppet set up by the Romans. He tried to kill Yahushua. They're trying to swallow up the woman and her child. So just another clear example that old serpent, the devil and Satan, is Esau. And that angel with the keys to the bottomless pit that put the chain on him is speaking of Septimius Severus. That's when Jake really started coming into power in the Roman Empire with the Severan dynasty. And then from there, it started transitioning into the Byzantine Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire to the Byzantine Empire.
Yeah, and this time, like the brother said, was Septimius Severus, how you say it?
Septimius Severus.
This time, Yahushua coming down and bound him. All right, that means when he bound, he'll never get loose again, man. All right, that's why you can liken that, that to Yahushua, man. And this again, this is the Roman Empire what revised. He come and bound them up again, man. All right, but this time when he get bounded, he ain't getting nothing cut loose.
And what it say? He was bounded for 1,000 years.
It's about to say that.
When you look up the Byzantine Empire, it lasted for 1,000 years. How long is Esau going into slavery for? When Yahushua bounds
1,000 years.
But he's not coming back. That deadly wound is not being healed anymore.
That's right. It says, "And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season." This is a little season.
And we're at the end of that little season.
That's it.
Like we said earlier, that little season was speaking of Esau coming back into power in the late 1300s, going into the 1400s with the Renaissance.
And that chain represents what is
Slavery.
Psalms 149.
To bind their kings with chains and the nobles with fetters of iron.
See, this time, like you say, come and get the nobles, man. And when the kingdom come down, you go get the nobles. That's how you take the kingdom from somebody. You ain't gonna go take them from these airheads, these really niggas. Yeah, no, we won't go where the mountains. We get them in the mountains, man. who said, let the mountains fall on us. No, the chains don't fall on you. Cold chains. You got
Like I say, hey, the scripture says you got to bind the strong man first.
to take this house.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, the strong man is their leaders.
That's
They
right.
got to be bound first in order for all this to go down.
Yes, sir.
And how they take us down?
That's the kingdom. That's
They,
right.
they took down our rulers, and the rest of the nation
That's right.
fell down afterwards.
Yeah.
And what does it say in Sirach? If you give too much liberty to a slave, put more fetters of iron on him, lest he starts feeling himself, roughly paraphrasing, and being and getting mischievous, which is what happened with Esau.
Yeah, that was somebody speaking about what happened with Esau when he was bound in them 1,000 years and he came back out. Should have kept the chains on. But prophecy had to unfold.
That's
So
right.
what? The chains had to come off him, man.
Mhm.
And he had to deceive the nations again. All right? You got it.
Which we can clearly see he's done.
Yeah.
As it says in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, that until that man of sin be revealed, that son of perdition, who sheweth himself as the Most High and wants to sit in the seat of the Most High. With the Renaissance, you had iconoclasm, where Esau showed himself as God and the Messiah and the children of Israel. And then now he just tossed the Bible to the side and uses his witchcraft and pseudoscience to show himself as a God. And when you get people to think that that this is the only life they've got, that this is an atheistic world, and after you die, that's it, you're naturally going to look at things as natural selection. Oh, if these people are in power and have all this mighty technology, then they must be the apex predator. That's some of the ways and the wines that Esau's used to deceive the people. But now, since we're at the end of this little season, you've got the men of the Lord, the prophets of the Most High, chiefly through GML, sent out on the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as putting up video epistles like this, tearing down those strongholds, taking away that covering cast from the people. And that's why it says in Revelation chapter 12 that devil's coming down in great wrath because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Oh, time, you got it.
Alright, Daniel 2 and 36.
We'll go to that Daniel 2, because as we opened up with that second Esdras chapter 6, Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. And in this Daniel chapter 2, it's going to talk about the different heathen kingdoms that ruled before the kingdom of heaven was established. You got that?
Alright, Daniel 2, verse 36. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king.
And this is Daniel breaking down that prophetic dream that King Nebuchadnezzar of the ancient Neo-Babylonian Empire that he had of that statue that was made of different metals.
Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the power of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power and strength and glory.
Keep going.
And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thy hand. And he hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art his head of gold.
The head of gold of the statue, speaking of that Neo-Babylonian Empire. Keep going.
And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth.
And that kingdom that rules afterwards that was inferior were the breasts and the arms of silver, the Medo-Persian Empire. And then after that, the belly and the thighs of brass, the Edomite Grecian Empire. And now we're getting into the meat of the matter.
And the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, for as so much as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise.
Those legs of iron, the ancient pagan Roman Empire, which the Edomites were in control of. Keep going out.
And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of iron, for so much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay.
And now we're in the last leg of that fourth beast, the reincarnated Roman Empire, the NATO-EU alliance that the United States is a part of. And as we went into that article in RT.com, you had the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson saying that Europe should consolidate into an alliance like the ancient Roman Empire. Their spirit bears witness who they are. And that part of iron are your stronger nations, like France, Germany, and Britain with their better economies and militaries. And the clay are these weaker nations, which are usually referred to as the pigs. Portugal, Italy, Ireland, Greece, and Spain. one thing you noticed about those previous statues is that they were pure metal, they were strong, but this kingdom is iron mixed with clay, which is a brittle, broken metal. And we can see that right now. And you've got a lot of these nations saying, oh, we're on board with going against Russia and putting sanctions on them and not taking their natural gas or oil to punish them for attacking Ukraine. But hey, some of these nations stand to lose more than others by going against Russia, especially Europe, because they heavily rely on Russian oil and natural gas. And Putin was talking about just completely cutting them off the spigot, and that it's going to be a very cold winter for Europe. So what do you think that's going to do to their people and their leaders? It's going to get them getting second thoughts and start to look at who is the main culprit, that little horn whose look was more stout than his fellows, the United States of America, who's the bully of this beast, pushing these weaker European nations to go against their enemies. Even though they may be the enemies of the U.S., these nations may have actual political, military, and lucrative deals with America's enemies.
Verse 42. And as for the toes of the feet were part of iron and of part clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken.
And we're coming into the times where this kingdom is going to be completely broken. Once things really start getting hectic out here and these European nations really see how bad it's affecting them following after the U.S. to go against Russia, hey, they're going to start getting second thoughts and seeing, look, we had lucrative economic deals. The Nord Stream 2 pipeline would have been a good deal. But, the U.S. wants us to stop taking gas from Russia so we can take more expensive gas from them, which we're going to have to completely change our infrastructure to take that American gas and oil. Strike number one. Hey, this whole food situation, which is heavily going to affect Europe since they get a lot of their wheat and other minerals from Russia. That's going to affect them and their populace by cutting it off. And then you even had the head of the UN World Food Program say that because of this war in Ukraine, expect to see a lot of migrants coming from the third world into Europe, which is further going to affect them. And you can only poke a bear so long before it strikes back. And we're getting to the breaking point to where these iron toes mixed with miry clay are going to be completely broken apart, and they're going to go against that horde and eat her flesh and burn her with fire, as it says in Revelation chapter 17, verse 6. You got it?
No, that's enough.
Oh, come.
Real quick, this St. Mark chapter 3, verse 24, which Yahushua speaking, it says, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand.
Mm-hmm.
And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand.
I'm going to give you that Revelation 17, verse 16. But as it says in that Mark chapter 3, if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And we can clearly see that the kingdom of Esau, Edom, as a whole is divided. I remember seeing, and I did a video on it a couple of months ago, about how while the EU is giving lip service and putting a lot of sanctions on Russian oil and natural gas, they're still finding loopholes around it to where, hey, we don't have to get the natural gas and oil to travel by pipeline across Europe. We can sneak it on the cargo ships and have it come around the sea to give us oil, and going around the very things that they're saying.
They said a Russian ship. I don't know if y'all about to say.
In New Orleans. Yeah.
And then they said it passed Port of Calais.
Yeah.
How? That's needed.
I thought the U.S. had an embargo on all Russian resources.
Bro, I was like, what? But you got it.
Kind. And not just, and we can see that the kingdom, because the United States itself is considered a kingdom. They're divided. We're on the verge of a civil war. There are all these polls coming out saying that 42% of Americans expect that there's going to be a second civil war. Hey, this kingdom is divided at all levels, and then the race of Esau, Edom, is divided. You've got religious Edomites against atheistic Edomites, so-called straight Edomites against Edomites in the alphabet group beginning with LG, Edomite men against Edomite women. We can look at every every aspect of the Edomite culture. They're divided and against each other. They Roe v. Wade, pro-life against pro-choice. And as it says, if a kingdom and a house be divided against itself, that kingdom will fall.
Gender racism.
Just everything.
Nation against nation, people against people is warring within. Wherever there's a war within, then obviously it's the results, man.
And just how do we go down? The Southern Kingdom and the
War
Northern
within.
Kingdom
Yeah,
has
it
split.
starts
And we went
within.
down.
In order for something to split, it starts within the crevice, the middle. And it divides itself, man.
And even that devil, Abraham Lincoln, said that. He was like, America will never be taken out from the outside, which it will, like those thermonuclear missiles as well as the laser beams from the chariot. But in his quote, he said, yeah, the only way that America will be taken down is if we eat each other from the inside out, which is happening on both cases, from inside and outside.
Oh, you got
I got another.
You got something?
Yeah, the preset. Well, you
I got
go
this news article for you.
kind of bring it out.
It says new AP report since Biden
Where's from?
Newsbreak original.
What's the?
What's the
Is it? Am I saying
weekly report?
Weekly report.
Weekly report.
Yeah.
On the Newsbreak ad?
I see it. It says since Biden inauguration, more than 1 million Democrats officially switched to Republican.
Which they the same.
Yeah. Going from
Bullshit.
out of the pot, you're jumping out of the pot into the fire.
Yeah, you know, two wings, same bird.
Look what it says. It says some party changing is always normal, but it has been decades since migration has been so one-sided.
That's another aspect, a political divide, red versus blue,
That's right.
liberal versus conservative, Republican versus Democrat. In that article, it's saying a lot of former Democrats are moving to the Republican
That's
Party
right.
because they no longer believing that Biden's administration is for the country anymore.
Even with them showing a great deal of division in the earth, which is the cause of chaos, the people at the top are on one accord.
That's right.
You see? So even though they, all right, yeah, we set this side and we set this side, but the people that's actually running the show, they're all under one accord.
They're the dragon with
They're
the
the
two horns
dragon.
like a lamb.
It's one agenda with them. It's not multiple agendas, it's one agenda. The new world order, the new monetary system, you know,
Great Reset,
the Great Reset.
Fourth Industrial
Right, but they
Revolution.
have to do all this to make it seem as an illusion. The division is really an illusion for the people to what? Not know what's going on, get entrapped, all right, and then ultimately what? Still fall into the trap that really all the upper echelon agree on, man. Don't be taken a slave by it, man. You got it.
As it says in Revelation 13, he calls it all. That's the ultimate. Everything that's going on right now is the ultimate goal. Is Revelation 13 verse 16 to get everybody to get that charagma in them.
That's it.
That's right.
Which they all on the same accord with that. So really, the ultimate goal is we on the same accord, but the world look like what? Nobody knows what's going on. All right, to create what? The chaos, to bring the order. And in order to make everyone get on one level, you got to cause a great confusion. All right, and then what? Squeeze everything in and then be like, no, y'all gonna do this now. It's better to enforce something than to ask somebody to do something. Just think about it. If we're enforcing you, we making you do it. Asking you, we gotta play with you a little bit. All right, compromise somewhat, lean a little, bend a little. But when we can come direct to y'all, then voila.
He calls it all.
Yeah, he calls it out, which means force it. Hey, force. Go ahead, you got it.
This is that Revelations 17 and 16. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the Lord, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire.
And those 10 horns upon the beast is speaking of the EU or European Union, and the beast is NATO. And as we read in that RT.com article, you've got leaders in Europe talking about recreating the Roman Empire. And again, we're living in the iron toes mixed with miry clay, the reincarnated Roman Empire. And that horde that's sitting upon the beast is the United States of America. And as it says, they're going to eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Fire from those 200 million nuclear missiles that they, along with Russia, China, and these other nations, are going to shoot onto the horde, the U.S. But with the 10 horns upon the beast hating the horde, what's that? The division. A kingdom divided cannot stand. And again, tying it back to that 2 Ezra 6 verse 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows.
But they built, you got the so-called America, which better the United States, with the United Kingdom. They built this up, being divided. It's called, for crying, it's Babylon. It's what makes you. it started up being what? Divided. It was never together, man. You stole some people out of the land, brought them over, then you started letting other nations come over, be merchant, sell, and do whatever. It just was all confusion, man. Like, what you expect to come out of this, man? What you expect to come out of something you founded on confusion? Let that sink in, man. You got it, bro.
Exactly. Look what happened to the Tower of Babel.
Confusion. When they started building it. You got it.
Back with that
You
Revelation.
can go back to that Daniel 2. You can get yours and then give me a Daniel 2, read 43 to 44.
You finished with your ad?
You got it on what?
This is back with the Revelation real quick. It's Daniel 7, and I'll start at 23. It says, Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces.
Hey, that fourth beast is again speaking of that ancient pagan Roman Empire, and what made it diverse from all these other nations, all these other kingdoms before it, even the Grecians, is that they didn't have a king. They had a senate house, and they had a consul and a proconsul, which they elected every year. And what does that sound like? United States of America today.
They just do it every
President,
4 years.
vice president. Yeah, just every 4 years. Things changed here and there.
Yeah.
And that's Esau's MO. He'll ruin something and then just rename the company.
Yeah.
The same company, he'll just rename it. That's all he does, man.
The Dukes and all the fire you come in as the ambulance.
Yeah. He said,
And we saw the fireman. Yeah, he started the fire house and then come to the the fire truck. You got the whole fire. You got the whole. We help.
In that movie Gangs of New York, it was taking place during an election, I think, to elect the new mayor of New York, and you had the mayor's goons go burn a building down, set a fire to it, and then they put a barrel on top of the water hose, so the opposing rivals fire team couldn't put it out. But then when the guy who set the fire's fire team came up, then they took the barrel down and put the hose in and put the fire out.
As he saw in a nutshell.
Just political theater.
It says, verse 24, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom are the 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them. And that other is talking about Babylon. It says, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings.
And those 3 kings he subdued is speaking of the French, the Spanish, and the British, who were the 3 main players in the New World before the 13 colonies came out of the British and formed what you know today as the United States of America. That little horn that came up and spoke great things against the Most High, which we clearly see. Democracy, feminism, capitalism, and this alphabet group beginning with LG, which is these are the wines that have completely bugged out the rest of these nations. Hence why it says in I think in Jeremiah 51 that the nations have drunken of their wine, therefore the nations are mad. They're mad because their people are bugged out by the philosophies, and they're also mad seeing that their people are bugged out, which in turn is going to lead to what? Them ganging up against this whore Babylon and shoot those missiles onto her. And that's going to include America's own European allies, those 10 horns upon the beast.
It says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until the time and times and the dividing of time.
Talking about that 350-year period, and then around the late 60s, what did you have? Our apostles, as Elder Abu Bivens, come out and start preaching the gospel, and then fast forward to today, you have us preaching the gospel, preaching down Esau Edom's rulership. And we can clearly see that this devil, this Edomite, has worn out the saints. Just look at slavery, and just look at the average Jake today, the average Jake, man and woman today. And of course, think to change times and laws. His whole society is clean contrary to the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. And what did this devil do recently? He made a daylight savings permanent, or let's just change the concept of time and days. Just madness.
They think to change laws and times. You know, as you say, what in Daniel, right?
That's where we're at.
It's like
Yeah, make up a calendar with a leap year, you've already gone off the rails.
Yeah.
Just gonna add a day every 4 years.
They did it wrong with the calendar. It's wrong all over.
Yeah, the Julian calendar.
The Jordan, come on, bro. You don't even down to need a calendar.
What they have?
Fucking scripture is that, bro. We got the signs.
You got that moon, man.
That the moon and the sun. That's the calendar.
That's another way of changing laws and times. Where they have a solar calendar, but the scriptures we have a lunar calendar going by the moon.
Yes.
This man does everything clean contrary to the Most High. Everything about his society is against the scriptures.
And like it says,
Solomon too.
and like it says in Ecclesiastes, who can make that straight, which the Most High has made crooked? This Edomite, this devil is estranged from the womb. The original can't do right.
And now the Most High put the spirit on him and just come out and be like, look, we the Romans, we back.
We're gonna rebuild an alliance.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about it?
I got that in 2 Ezra 11.
Keep read down to 27, Baba Kashara.
It says, but the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and a dominion shall serve and obey, and all dominions shall serve and obey him.
That's the next kingdom that comes after the iron toes mixed with miry clay, the last leg of that fourth beast. Hey, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning that followed. As we've gone through in these precepts, we can see who's ruling now and who those iron toes mixed with miry clay are, this reincarnated Roman Empire. And as it says in this Daniel 7, verses 26 to 27, it says the kingdom of heaven comes next. And who's going to rule that? Israel, Jacob. So ain't no Japhites ruling. The Edomite isn't Japheth. He's the Edomite is the so-called white man, the red man, the devil, that old serpent. Kind of. Actually, you say yeah, real quick.
Yeah, I got
And then we then
You better.
Oh,
you
okay.
got it.
You know, this is back to what you were saying,
Okay, you got it.
you know, about the kingdom to come. It's at Revelation 21:1, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth will pass away.
This current age, because that word new just means refreshed.
And there was no more sea, and then it goes into Esau, Edom, being taken down out of power. You know, right now this is his heaven, but the new heaven to come is for Jacob, us, Israel. You know, so everybody want to say, "Oh, the world's gonna end" and all that. No, like the brother said, hey, the age of Esau is ending right now. What we going to the seventh trumpet right now? So we in the seventh, going into the seventh right now.
And that seven trumpet's going to blow when the nuclear missiles strike, and then the elect get beamed up on the chariots, and then they're going to come down as New Jerusalem to set down law, to replenish the earth by putting these heathens into slavery, and then putting the world back under the vibration and the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. And to back you up, what's it saying in 2 Peter chapter 3? And the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, talking about this age of rulership of Esau's by what? That fire. Once those nuclear missiles start flying, that's it for Esau. That's the period on his rulership. And we can clearly see that with each passing day, we're getting closer and closer to those nukes flying. As we went into with the pre-camp, you got Putin out here just saying, look, Satan 2, by the end of the year, is going into military service.
And London getting hit first.
Hey, and who was it that said he wants to bring back the Roman Empire? The British Prime Minister. You got it.
It's Ecclesiastes 1:4. One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. So that goes to show you, man, this earth is not going to be destroyed, man. It's going to be here forever and ever. You know, why we get put on the earth, man, if it's going to be destroyed, you know? Why we get put on Mars or Jupiter or some shit, you know? It just makes sense.
Yeah, Wormwood or Planet X ain't going to hit the planet and annihilate it.
What's the other shit? Nibiru or something?
Yeah, Nibiru.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that's some more bullshit Esau, some of those more deceits that Esau puts out there to deceive the people, just to further bug them out when they read the scriptures, or just not even want to follow the scriptures anyway, thinking it's a book of fairy tales and mythology.
Esau so vile, their own mother gonna confound them, bro. Like they gonna just give them up for adoption, man.
They're gonna shoot missiles at them, and then they're gonna get hit with missiles.
their own mother is just so confounded with going to abort them. You so violent as a child to where your own parents that you came out of gonna abort you, give you up, all right, and just don't even care who you go to, man. No one care what happened to you. Just put you in the river and float you away.
You're such a whore.
You such a whore, man.
That you got disowned.
You got disowned, man. All your allies gonna turn, everything gonna just turn against you, man. To where you gonna be overwhelmed, man.
Yeah, what they don't teach in the food system is that the majority of Edomites that came here originally were prisoners. It wasn't just Australia. The Edomites that were degenerates and losers in Europe, they were the so-called founding fathers of this place.
That's right.
This was a bastard nation.
They losers.
Yeah.
Literally.
And literally, they about to lose their whole kingdom. See, when the kingdom of righteousness in heaven gets set up, we ain't losers, man. We ain't gonna lose. It's forever and ever and ever. You're a loser when you lose a whole kingdom that you ruling over all the nations. The whore that's sitting on many waters gonna be drowned by the water she's sitting on, man. Mm-hmm. The same sea gonna swallow her up, man.
You was given a head start.
And you was a head start, bro. Come on, bro. Even more.
And the average Edomite is damn near 1-to-1 with the average Jake out here.
For real.
Jake taking his women, Jake taking his jobs.
Come on, man.
You still got some Samaki?
Hold on up. He was alive.
I just got that second Ezra's 11 though. On this second Ezra's 11 and 39, I got
Bring it out. That's the spirit. I was right. I was going with it. That's the spirit. I get it up.
Yeah.
Start at 37. Start at 37.
37 kind. It says, and I beheld, and lo, as it were a roaring lion chased out of the wood, and I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle, and said,
and that roaring lion out of the wood is the Lion of Judah.
That's right.
Yahushai. And as we're going to get back in that Daniel chapter 2, that great millstone that hit the feet of that statue and took that whole bitch, that whole whore down.
It says,
and of course the eagle. Whose symbol is the eagle? What was Rome's symbol? The eagle. What's America's symbol? The eagle. What's it saying? Obadiah. That lifteth thy heart like the, I don't want to paraphrase it, but it also relates the eagle to Esau, because that's always been his symbol. Though that exalt thyself as the eagle. Keep going out.
You want to bring it out?
Okay.
It's the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Question mark. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle,
that's right,
and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh.
Hey, you can't, the scriptures tell you exactly who you are. For one, the eagle is your symbol, and set your nest among the stars. What? Going into low orbit space. So-called saying you went to the moon. They literally had, and the brother,
no, they didn't came out with the article and said they never went.
Oh, they
come on.
Guys, you saw the article?
Okay, I didn't see the article. But I remember the guy, one of the guys at NASA said this. Look, we can't go back to the moon because we lost all the technology and know how to do so.
That was on the NASA website. That was officially, that's on the official NASA website. They said we forgot how to make it back.
But we're going to Mars.
We're going to Mars.
Wow.
The brother Amalong Gabar did a video a long time ago where they had a silver coin that was commemorating the moon landing with an eagle in space. Though thou set thy nest among the stars.
That's right.
And what it also say, I shall never go down. When you got the British Prime Minister saying, oh, let's be the Roman Empire again, that's a prideful spirit. Oh, Europe's never going down. We're going to be here forever.
I got that. That's Psalms 49:11. The inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever,
That's right.
and their dwelling places to all generations. Mm-hmm. They call their lands after their own name.
Mm-hmm. And he said in that article that this is going to be our mare nostrum again, our sea. And that's what that was Latin for, Roman term, talking about our sea, talking about them controlling the Mediterranean Sea. So he was pretty much saying, look, our sea again, making Europe like the Roman Empire again, going back to the ancient paths. seeking the ancient ways. But what do those ancient ways lead to? The downfall of Rome, just like they're leading to the downfall of Rome right now. But hey, we're following after the ancient paths of our fathers, and what's that leading us to? Rulership. We're preaching. We're following after the old ways, bringing down this kingdom and birthing in our kingdom.
Keep going.
Keep going on.
This verse 38, it says, "Hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee, Art thou it that remainest?"
Reread it again.
Salaki. Verse 39, it says, "Art thou
Are
it?
not thou.
Art not thou it that remainest of the four beasts whom I made to reign in my world, that he," Salaki, "that the end of their times might come through them?"
Hey,
Question mark.
art not thou it that remainest of the four
Right.
beasts? That last leg of the fourth beast, those iron toes mixed with miry clay, whom I made to reign in the world, that the end of their times might come through them. And as the brother Amawad read in Daniel chapter 7, what comes next? The kingdom of heaven.
Right.
After the downfall of this last leg of the fourth beast. And as we've been going into, Esau is the end of the world of this age, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So we know exactly who's ruling right now, that eagle.
Verse 40, "And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole world, and over the whole compass of the world with much wicked oppression, and so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit."
And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past. And we know that, especially in the United States of America, they take a lot of the idols and the philosophies and the ways of these past beast kingdoms and have rolled them into one amalgamation of madness. Babylon, confusion.
Yes.
And as I said, it had power over the world with great fearfulness, the hammer of the earth. And over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression.
And the Lord not the author of confusion, man.
Point blank period.
You know, but why is earth and ashes proud, man? Why they running around? Because they didn't cause great confusion in the earth, man. All right? That's why the Lord caused the confusion to actually come within this place, man. All kind of pestilence, and everybody just confused, man. The gas high, they don't know where they're going to get oil from. His wall.
People don't know their genders.
They don't know their genders.
They don't know what a woman is.
The Lord just got this. The Lord maximized their confusion to where they don't even understand their own confusion no more, man. You could get so confused till you get lost in the confusion, man.
They can't keep up with their lives.
They can't keep up with their lives. All right, and that's why I said that on 2 Thessalonians that he that would now let it will let, man. And so what? It be no more. So the Lord have given them bounds that they can't pass no more. So now it's time to cut the confusion off. All right, because the Lord he abandons. He let it get overly confusing so he could straighten up the confusion, man.
If I
All
could say,
right, he could set every nation with their nation. All right, so he could what? Set righteousness and order back. That's why he made this order come.
Right.
So order could be set as the standard of the earth, man. Go ahead.
if I could just say real quick what it says, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. What did it say about that red horse in Revelation chapter 6? It was given that great sword to take peace from the earth. And we know that horse means power. Esau's blessing was the sword. And how did Esau come out? Red all over like a hairy garment.
That bloody already. Because
bloody.
he was that's pretty much a damn near omen because the Lord gonna bloody him at the end. He started out bloody, and the Lord, like in his judgment, on what? To a ring. He started out bloody.
He's gonna end bloody.
He gonna end bloody.
He that liveth by the sword shall die by the sword. The Romans wore red. Their military wore that crimson red outfit. The British wore red.
Yeah.
And who came out of the British? Babylon, America. What you got, man?
Quick one right quick. This is Proverbs 29:16. When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increases, but the righteous shall see their fall.
If I could add, in Proverbs it says that the wicked shall be a ransom for the righteous. And when you're a ransom for something, when you get what you're supposed to get for that person, you still could kill him. You see? That, you know, they like, hey, give me $2 million for him. Then when you give me the $2 million, I still could kill you. You in my possession. All right? But the wicked is a ransom for the righteous, man. You got it, bro.
Hey, reread it again, Mama Michelle.
Proverbs 29:16. When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increases.
And what does it say in First Maccabees that when Alexander's generals set crowns upon their heads, where evils were multiplied in the earth? You got it? Read it out. Come on. Whenever you Edomites come into power and you multiply, wickedness is expounded upon to the heavens. When the vilest men are exalted, the wicked walk on every side. And we can clearly see everybody's a damn adulterer out here, a scumbag, a whore, a drug addict in open relationships. A lollipop liquor, a stool sitter, someone who sits on.
This First Maccabees 1:7 going into the wicked. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule every one in his place. And after his death, they shall all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth.
And you Edomites, for the longest time, you said civilization began with the Greeks. Western civilization, Greeks and all that. But now that's coming out that you're the Edomites. Oh, that's not us. No, that is you. And hey, civilization wasn't birthed by the Greeks. What was evil, and wickedness was birthed and multiplied by you devils.
Exactly what you just said right there. Back to Proverbs 29:16. When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increases, but the righteous shall see that fall.
And what's it saying in Sirach? Happy is the man that sees the fall of his enemy. And we're seeing the fall of it right now. Your society is collapsing on every level, and we're just waiting for the coup de grace, those nuclear missiles. And Abaratazah, we and you sincere, Akim and Akwak on the other side that came up that number, we get to get beamed up on the chariots and then stand upon that sea of glass and watch this whore get burned by that fire in Revelation 17, verse 16.
The second Ezra 11:41, it says, For the earth has thou not judged with truth.
What did you read in that Proverbs 29:16?
No. When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increases.
For the earth hast thou not judged with truth, the truth of the laws, statutes, and commandments and ways that Yahweh has shown Yahweh Shah. Hey, coming out after that little season and deceiving the world and making these people drunk off of that and mad off of your wines and your philosophies. Which is why this pretty much, I would say this, even the average person that doesn't know the scriptures, they know that we're at the end of civilization. You got the average person out here talking about, I just got a bad feeling.
They feel it within themselves. You know, like the scripture said, the Lord pour out His Spirit. They feel, what we are preaching without hearing us preaching. And that's what's captivating them when they hear us preach.
It says in Romans 8 that the whole creation groaneth for the manifestation of the sons of God. Even if these people don't want to acknowledge it with the children of Israel, their spirit is groaning. Their spirit is groaning for a righteous rulership.
Explain that. That's in Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn.
It speaks for itself.
Hey, just recapping back on that World Star video with that bald head Jake, and he just felt in his spirit that this is wrong. Like we shouldn't even be going through this.
Living like this.
And it brought the man to tears, which you're supposed to gird yourself like a man, but that brother, he just kind of like
No answers.
with no answers, what it's gonna drive you to? And like he should have just kind of like gave up the ghost. He done.
Well, there's no vision for people.
He finished, brother.
He can't even see the end of the world.
That's right.
He's just worrying about his oppression.
And another thing, what else did they show on World Star where it was like a little 14-year-old girl snorting coke in the high school bathroom?
Come on, bro.
And you're saying we're living in the height of human civilization.
These are the dark ages right now.
That's
The true
right.
dark age, dark is in no light.
That's right.
Not the chocolate ages.
We keep going.
Okay.
This verse 42, it says, "For thou hast afflicted the meek, thou hast hurt the peaceable."
What does it say back in that Daniel chapter 7? That wore out the saints.
God, it says, "Thou hast loved liars and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and hast cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm."
Hey, when the wicked are estranged from the womb, they go forth speaking lies as soon as they be born. This whole society is based upon lies and deceit. The only way to get ahead in this society is to be a wicked, crooked liar, just a scumbag. What was it saying? Isaiah, I believe 58, where it says, "Hey, the righteous are a prey out here. You try to do good, you're a prey to this society."
He got departed from righteousness, making himself a prey.
Can we keep going?
Kind of.
Verse 43, "Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up unto the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty. The highest also had looked upon the proud times, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled."
Hey, the highest has looked upon the proud times, when it says, "The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, thence will I bring thee down." Hey, your wickedness has been exalted to the heavens, and you just about reached those bounds which you cannot pass, and that's why your kingdom's going down, because the Most High is like, look, it's almost time. You had your little season to fulfill prophecy, now it's time to go down. And whoever's holding that Daniel chapter 2, we're going to close it off with that after we finish this.
Okay. All right. This verse 45, it says, "And therefore appear no more thou eagle, nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws, nor all thy vain body."
What does it say? Appear thou no more.
Come.
And as it says in real quick in Job chapter 20, "Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. Shit, they which have seen him shall say, Where is he? He shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yet he shall be chased away as the vision of the night. The eye also which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him again. And therefore appear no more, thou eagle, nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws, nor all thy vain body." Read verse 46.
I'm about to make a point. Hey, the nations looked at us and said, "What? Is this the perfection of beauty? The joy of earth?" And right now in this current captivity, they look at America, Esau, Edom, as that perfection of beauty, the joy of earth. All right, but the only difference is we have a redemption. All right, they're doomed after this. This is their last hoorah. All right.
As it says in, if I could just say real quick, as it says in Isaiah 14, what does it say? What are the nations going to say when he's taken out of power? Is this the man that ruled the nations in anger and made the world as a wilderness? You got it, son.
That's right. Yeah, just to touch what the brother was saying, now they look at the nation of Israel like trash.
Kind of.
Look at that beauty. But now, like you're saying, they look at Esau like he was man.
That's right.
He's next to the power. Most of that we give him.
You gotta be dealing with it.
Yeah.
And they wondered after the beast because of his miracles, because he called fire down from heaven, and they sought to make an image like the beast.
That's right. Verse 46, "That all the earth may be refreshed."
Hey, that, like you brought out, that new heavens and the new earth coming down, the earth being refreshed, made anew, through the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, through Yahweh Shai, the elect, putting down that law and order with that rod of iron.
like it's in Psalms 82, the earth is out of course. All right, and that we can go on and on about that, but what we can see from here is the earth is fully out of course with this man ruling. We're gonna keep going. It says, being delivered from thy violence, and that she may hope for the judgment and mercy of him that made her.
And that's twofold. That she that's hoping is the nation of Israel hoping for salvation, and this earth hoping the creation groaning for the manifestation of the sons of God. As it says back in Isaiah chapter 14, since the wicked was taken out of power, the trees will rejoice, saying, no feller shall come up against us. Nature, the spirit of nature, the trees, the ocean, the animals are going to rejoice because they're no longer going to be under this oppressive, wicked rule of this devil. But we can go back to that Daniel chapter 2.
43.
Yeah, 43 to 44.
This is Daniel 2 and 43. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay.
Keep going.
And in the days of kings of Slag, and in the days of these kings shall the Most High of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever.
Back in that Daniel chapter 7, the kingdom of heaven being established through Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, and the elect. And it's not going to be left to any other people. Israel is going to be sovereign and the chief nation, not just on planet Earth, but in the universe for eternity. Read verse 45.
Okay. For so much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold. The great power have made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure.
Hey, for as much as thou sawest that the stone, that cornerstone, was cut out of the mountain without hands, that it brake in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, and silver, and the gold, that great millstone, as the brother Kaya said, Yahweh Shai.
I got something for that. This 1 Corinthians 15 and 24. Then cometh the end, when he shall have delivered up the kingdom to our power, even the Father, Yahweh, when he shall have put down all rule and all authority and power. Yeah, and that's Yahweh Shai, man. And we at the end, when he's about to put down all rule and authority. He said he's gonna, on his head was many crowns, man. All right, which is symbolic for taking the rulership out of from these kings, man, which is their power, man. All right, and all power gonna be given back unto him, man. The kingdom of heaven, man. Set up. All right, it says then come at the end. So we're at the end. Going back to the beginning of the lesson when that brother went to 2nd Ezra 6.
6 to 9. Okay.
Yeah, when he pulling them out of power, that's somebody you got to heal somebody. That's the stability. All right, and that great millstone is striking the feet of the statue, man. The stability gone, which is where was the weakest. All right,
the foundation.
That's it was because the foundation of the statue was weak from the start. That's why it got weaker and weaker and weaker. So when Yahweh Shai do come, it's an easy kill. It's gonna be easy, man.
In 1 hour.
Yeah, it's gonna be easy. Yeah, it says, for he must reign till he had put all enemies under his feet. And you kings of the earth that's currently in charge right now, you the enemy of the Most High, man. All right? That's why I say he must rule till he put all enemies under his feet. You Kim Jong-uns, you Putins, all you motherfuckers, man.
Rothschild.
What? Name it, man. The committee of 300, whatever you niggas go by, man. All right, whatever your earthly name is, they got under your earthly name, they got a spiritual judgment for you. All right, and they coming to get your spiritual name, whatever that is. All right, go ahead.
As it says at the end of 43, the great Most High hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof is sure. And everything that's written will come to pass, as it says in Psalms 55, verse 11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please. And we're just about at the end of Esau's world or age, and we're coming in to our eternal rest, our rule, our world, our age, the kingdom of heaven. Any brothers have any closing points?
Yeah, that one right here. This is Sirach 35:18. It says, "For the Lord will not be slack, neither will the mighty be patient towards them, till he have smitten asunder the loins of the unmerciful, and repaid vengeance to the heathen, till he have taken away the multitude of the proud, and broken the scepter of the unrighteous."
It speaks for itself.
That's right.
I
You gonna crack them in the head, man.
This Lamentations
Right.
chapter
And
3,
that you got some more.
That's God, this Lamentations chapter 3, verse 64, it says, "Render unto them a recompense, O Lord, according to the work of their hands. Give them sorrow of heart, thy curse unto them, persecute and destroy them in anger under the heavens of the Lord."
And what it says, hey, thou shalt drink the cup, O daughter of Edom.
That's right.
And you're going to receive double as you did unto us. What you did unto us, you're going to receive double in the kingdom. But it's going to be in righteousness. We're not going to do any of that wicked buck breaking, any of that shit. But you're going to receive double judgment and double slavery and double of the curses.
Right.
Fucking devil.
Sirach chapter 10, verse 8, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another.
And that's how Esau got this place, by unrighteous dealings, blood, destruction, deceit, and what? The kingdom's being translated from him, from Esau's to Jacob.
From the eagle to that lion.
Hey, so with that, we hope you sincere Akim and Aqua were edified by this lesson. And again, as always, we're going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Rakash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you, sincere Akim out there, pushing this word of truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. Abba Ball.
Abba Ball.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Kwame Yasharam.
Yes, sir.